to strengthen the institution in which they serve. And it's not about Congress. It's about the American people. We are representatives of the American people who deserve to know the truth.
Before we move on to the other issues, very quickly though, but if you really believe the president may have committed crimes in office, isn't it your obligation to mount an impeachment inquiry?
My obligation is to do whatever we do in the most effective way possible.
And you believe he committed crimes in office?
I think it's the Mueller report very clearly spells out at least 10 or 11 instances of obstruction of justice. But I'm not here to have that discussion here. That's for the committees. We have 6 committees that work on this. One doing taxes, Ways and Means Committee, Maxine Waters, Financial Services, Jerry Nather, Judiciary, Elijah Cummings, the Government Oversight Committee, Elliot Engel, Foreign Affairs Committee. They're all doing their work very well, and I believe in the committee system, and it will bubble up from there.
Another issue over the weekend was the president backing off his threat on tariffs on Mexico. He says that he deserves credit for forcing Mexico to take a tougher line on the immigration issue. Do you think the president...
If I had been invited to talk about the president, I would have
But do you think the president deserves any credit?
Work to do at home.
But do you think the president deserves credit on tariffs?
Really? No, everybody knows that those issues were, if they were agreed to, they were agreed to long before the president made the announcement, but they were designed to take your attention away from the Mueller report. Look at the timing. This all happened a while back, and even now the foreign minister of Mexico is saying that's not really, the way the president describes it is not really the way, what we have agreed to. But the fact is that I come here each year very complimented to have the invitation of the Peterson family. Pete Peterson, to me, was a national hero. I loved him very much. He was the personification of the American dream, Greek-American family rising to the heights, Mount Olympus of the financial community in our country, always sensitive to the needs of working people, always teaching us that the increase in the national debt was a tax on our children and that we had to hold it in check and be creative in how we did it. And he always said to me, Nancy, keep your eye on the tax expenditures in the budget. So I feel very honored always to be invited to this.
I want to ask you a question about the budget. And
my goodness.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm sure we still have time to talk about that. So,
but I will not be part of the diversionary tactics of the White House that
there is a legislative
one
big legislative issue on your plate is what to do about the U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. How do you pin the prospects of that passage of that? If you were to gauge it.
How did a policy issue slip in there?
We're going to get to it. I told you.
I originally thought that the U.S., Mexico, Canada, whatever we're calling it, NAFTA, after NAFTA, NAFTA 2.0, they have all the different names for it, but this current attempt at an agreement, I thought that would be the easiest trade bill we'd ever had the opportunity to pass, because those who are unhappy with NAFTA really want to have a new NAFTA, and that includes many people in the Democratic Party. I myself voted for NAFTA. I was disappointed in how it was implemented, but there were some winners and there were some losers, and there's no question about the fact that many people lost jobs in our country because of it. Many people gained jobs. It depends on where you are regionally, as trade usually is measured. It's frequently regional. So we have, what I met yesterday with Chairman Grassley. I don't know if that's news or if we did get our picture taken together, so maybe it's out there that we met with Senator Grassley and Ranking Member Brady, who was with you earlier, and Richie Neal, corresponding, our chair of Ways and Means Committee. I think that has such a nice ring to it. Richie Neal, chair of the Ways and Means Committee. Anyway, we met, and our concerns are as follows. Overarching enforcement. You must have enforcement, or else you're just having a conversation. So if you don't have enforcement, you're just having NAFTA again with sprinkles on top or something, but you're not having a new NAFTA, because enforcement is very essential to implementing a trade agreement. our three areas of concern under that overarching are workers' rights. What does it mean to America's working families? Secondly, environment. What does it mean in terms of the environment? Big disappointment, some of what happened with NAFTA in terms of the environment. And the third, which is a big concern in my caucus, is the how pharmaceutical drugs are treated in the agreement. More on the subject if you ask me, but those are the three areas. Now then there are overarching three categories. If you don't have enforcement, it's no use even having the conversation on the other things. And then there's some what we call dogs and cats, different things from around the country, not to be considered anything but a compliment because we all love our dogs and cats. But these are more parochial
you think
issues.
that is a chance? What do you think the chances of passage right now?
I've always, we're on a path.
Okay.